Welcome everyone to Refresh Your Business series at Vodafone Idea Businesses. Hope each and every one of you are safe and connected. It is our absolute privilege and pleasure to host this webinar series with our partners and customers for businesses like yourself. It is our constant endeavor to engage with businesses to navigate the challenges and opportunities and see how digital solutions and services can help address those. Today, we present to you the second webinar in the series, and the agenda is to dive a little deeper into the role of digital adoption for revitalizing MSMEs, considering the scenarios that we are currently in. Our session today focuses on sharing some of the industry expert learnings, approaches from companies and businesses, their customer success stories, and emerging best practices. Few things before we begin the webinar. This is a listen-only webinar. However, should you have any questions, you can type it out in our Q&A box, and we will attempt to answer them in our Q&A section at the end of the webinar. We are recording this session for purpose of future distribution. Now, I invite Ajay, Executive Vice President, Enterprise Business for SME, Soho Market, to introduce our esteemed panel and kickstart the webinar. Welcome, Ajay.
Hey, thank you, Anushri, and good afternoon to all of you, including all my panelists. Thank you so much, first of all, for taking out time today afternoon and joining us on this platform. I'm personally very excited to engage with all of you for the next 1 hour on behalf of Vodafone Idea Limited, as well as on behalf of our partners, KPMG, Google, as well as Paytm. I'm sure, all of us together, we are going to share our approach, our customer success stories, and how we are, the engaging our customers and how, the best practices are emerging in the last, especially 80 days. So before I start, let me, give a quick introduction for my, the co-working panelists who are industry experts and equally eager to share their learnings and suggestions. So along with me, we have Purushottam KG, partner KPMG, Tina Jobanputra, head of SMB partnerships, JPAC, Google Cloud. And we also have Srinivas Mothe, Senior Vice President, Merchant Solutions, Paytm. So, we have divided this session into 2 sections. So in the first section, we're going to talk about digital adoption by MSMEs now and in the future. And in the second section, we'll ask our industry experts to talk about, how adopting digitally can improve efficiency especially for the small organizations, and what are their recommendations basis their learnings, especially in the last 80 days. Because all of us, we have learned a lot, especially, in the last 80 days. And I kept saying that, all these icons were there in my laptop, especially related to video calling, but I never used it and I was never aware about, how to use it. A couple of times I tried it in my office, but I was not very comfortable. I thought, what's the need, when I can have a face-to-face interaction with all of my colleagues, with my partners, with my customers. So I didn't feel comfortable. But now I can say that I know each and every feature of, all these tools, which helps us to do audio conferencing, video conferencing, or anything else, which is helping us to go digital. So, and as I said, all of us, we have learned a lot, especially in the last 80 days, how to cope up the situation, as well as, how to learn new ways of working. And we keep saying that new ways of working are new norms. But we don't know whether it's new norms or the new norms are going to become, the new ways of working. But especially, in the crisis, I've read somewhere that, all the innovations happens, during the crisis only. And I was thinking in the morning that, let's not waste time during these crises. And what we have observed is that employees, companies, they have sampled the power of digital, especially in the last 80 days. The important part is now that how to convert that power of digital into DNA of our companies to create opportunities which are clearly, visible to us. We at Vodafone Idea also, I would say that we have empowered close to 1,500 plus companies in the last 80 days, again, I would say, especially in their helping them to navigate in their digital journeys. And I thought this is a good platform for us to engage with all these small businesses, emerging businesses, to help them understand that what is right. Because in my last webinar, the 2 days back, one of the customer asked, that, can you give a prescription that what are the right technologies for me, which I should adopt? And my answer was that I'm not a doctor, or any one of us are not a doctor to give a prescription. You need to understand that what are the key opportunities, key challenges for your business. And obviously there are multiple, technology tools which are available in the market. You need to review your challenges and slash opportunities and see that which tool is going to help you better. And then accordingly, you can start moving in that direction. And obviously, once you start moving in the direction of going digital, things will definitely change for you. And obviously, you will be able to evolve over a period of time. So I'll quickly, give an update from my side. Anushri, if you can put a slide for me. And then I hand it over to rest of the panelists also. So basically, I'm talking about, challenges and opportunities in the new reality. Crisis is equal to danger plus opportunity also. Because as I said, the crisis have brought a lot of new opportunities for us, and it's important for all of us when we're running our businesses to see. So before I get into the opportunity part, let me just highlight to you the new reality, which is again, basis telco's lens, and obviously, the rest of the panelists also would agree to a certain extent, and they can have their own view. But from a telco's lens point of view, and I'm observing that there is a data tsunami, which was there before COVID also, but especially during the COVID situation. The consumption of data, has gone up significantly, and we can see that, in India, the data consumption per user per month is 11 GB, which is almost 17% of the global data consumption. That's where the India is currently, and close to 2.5 hour year before, our consumption was 1%, whereas now in the global data consumption, we are at 17%. So that's the kind of data which we're consuming in India. Work from home obviously is a big change which all of us are experiencing. When I did a survey around a couple of weeks back, one of the feedback, which many of the customers stated, that 40% of the customers rather stated that more than 75% of their workforce, started working from home for the first time in India, during this COVID situation. So that's the era, where we were living in, and now, that's the change which we are observing. More than 90% of the customers, we divide our customers into digital and non-digital customers from the collection point of view. And digital customers are those customers who are paying digitally to us. And one of my observation is that more than 90% of the non-digital customers started paying us digitally, in the last 80 days. That's another big change. And we were putting up a lot of effort to convert them into digital route, but they were not doing it. And now I would say without any effort, it is happening automatically. Virtual experiences, again, I would say it's not the norm. It's the norm now. It's not a substitute, which again, I picked it up, from one of our customer who's a builder. And during this lockdown situation, they said that we can't stop our business. And they started giving virtual experiences of their sample flat using technology. So that's the another change which is observed. Again, I'm just sharing few thoughts, few observations, basis our interaction with the customers to give a way that how things are changing. Investors, during my interaction with a lot of startups, they are saying that most of the investors who were saying growth, 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 now they are saying profit, profit, profit. Meaning we don't need growth, but we need profit. Profit is the key for us. And that's what, the next section, which I am showing, is the short-term challenges, which all our customers, both large as well as small, are facing. First point, during many of my interaction with a lot of customers, payment collection and clearing inventory, is one big challenge which many of the customers are facing. Including we, we are also facing the same challenge of collecting money, because, we all understand the businesses are not in the right shape. So obviously paying to their vendors, suppliers is a big challenge. And because of that, I have observed that earlier we used to say that cash is a king. I would say that cash is not a king, but cash is a god now, and save it for future. And that's the recommendation for all of you, as well as that's the recommendation which we are driving internally in our company also. Optimize cost structure, we are driving it, and I'm sure that all of us are driving to match the falling revenues which we all are experiencing. And core business, if it is not relevant, innovate and pick up new business. Because of positive time, I'll not get into detail, but I came across many of our customers who have built up new business models which were not there at all, and especially in the last 80 days. And now they're thinking how can they use technology to scale up further. So that's the challenges, and those challenges are converting into opportunity. Being a CII member, I just want to highlight to all the audiences that Government of India is doing a lot. They have announced a lot of the packages. They have announced a lot of benefits. But I have seen that during my interaction with many of these small businesses, many of these businesses are still not aware that what these benefits are. So I thought, I'll just take a minute to quickly highlight that in India, the definition of SME has changed by Government of India, which was a long pending due. I would say that for the last 3-4 years, I am pushing government agencies to do that. So now the definition has moved from the investment to turnover, which is the 5 crore, 50 crores, and 250 crores for micro, small, and medium SMBs, and all the benefits are now aligned to this new definition. So it's important for all of you to understand. 3 months moratorium was given earlier by the government, which again extended it to 3 more months, and now the discussion is on to move this moratorium up till December. So that's the another ask which is there from the industry body, and all of us are together. We are trying to convince government to do that part also. Government has already announced that all people who are doing business with the government, their dues should get cleared in 45 days. And I've personally taken inputs from a lot of these small organizations, including my channel partners, that their dues are getting cleared within 45 days. Tenders up to 200 crores, only Indian companies now can quote and bid, government tenders up to 200 crores. That's the new norm. Good, sign, good, I would say, news for all the small businesses, who are generally quoting bids, and they have to beat and they have to compete with the large organizations. Collateral-free loans, again, I'll not get into detail, but these are the benefits, which Government of India is providing. So I would suggest each one of you to go and visit Ministry of MSME website, and you will be able to understand a lot of benefits. And if you have any clarifications, you can reach out to me, and I'll connect you with the right people so that they should be able to give a more clarity. So this is the, the basic input which I thought that in my section, I should talk about from the telco's lens, that what are the challenges and the opportunities in the new world. Let me quickly go to Puru. Puru is the partner from KPMG. So let's hear from Puru from a consultant, the lens. Puru, so what, according to you, are the key trends and forecast for digital adoption for these small businesses?
Thank you, Ajay. I hope I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes.
So from a consultant's lens, and we actually have the opportunity to not only work with partners like Vodafone Idea, but also engage with companies like Google and Paytm as well, who are digital platform providers on various engagements. But the experience that I want to actually share, or the trends that I want to share, is something that we had actually researched as part of our MSME initiatives probably a year back. And some of the insights that have actually come in as part of that study that we actually did across India. And I'll start with that and some success stories on how digitization has been adopted. But starting with some of the challenges, when we actually meet MSMEs, there are primarily 6 challenges that are actually spoken about by MSMEs. First is, how effectively can they communicate and engage with their customers? And this is not, just a mobile call or a direct engagement, a physical engagement, but how do they continuously engage so that they can communicate the services that are being rendered effectively? And that actually has a direct impact on the customer experience also, who actually gives repeat orders. The second challenge that we have seen is lack of knowledge, or limited knowledge, or information that can be communicated in different language, form, and in a manner that can be understood by the MSMEs. And that is very important, because everybody knows about applications. Everybody knows that you can do wonders with cloudification or website development, etc. But how do they actually go about doing that? I think that's very important, and that's something that is not well understood by MSMEs, and which is what is impacting their their adoption of digitization as well. The other important point is, not only the proprietors, but also the team that will actually work with them is not very digitally savvy, or they don't understand how to use it, even if some amount of implementation is done. And lastly, the primary question that actually comes in is, will it really impact my bottom line and ROI? And those are important questions that are being asked by MSMEs. And in terms of the journey, what I've specified on the bottommost corner of the slide is a typical journey that a digital journey that an MSME has to go through, from an offline business to a connectivity either through a mobile connection or others, to an enablement either through a web platform or a mobile application, to a complete marketplace and digitally enabled platform, where they can further engage with the customer. It's a 4-step journey, and I think this is something that has to be understood. And there are a lot of things that go into each of these steps, but it is now very much simplified, and it has actually happened, which is what I want to communicate to some of the success stories that we have actually seen. I want to cover all these 4 because these 4 are unique success stories within India, implemented over a period of time. The first being the Million Kitchen, as it is famously called in Delhi. It started off in 2000 in probably the slums of Delhi, with only 20 odd women actually starting this journey, making food for the B2B customers, B2C customers, retail customers, and then eventually how they actually grew this entire business of theirs by mobile application, engaging with customers by getting their request and providing them food. From a order of 150 every day, it actually went up to nearly 550 over a period of time. And now even they have successfully got multiple awards on the implementation of the digital platform. The second important example that I want to give is of Harshil Jewellers, which has actually expanded their operations to more than 40 countries over a period of time through website enablement, and also engaging with customers and directly interacting with them in their journey and selling products directly through their platform. The third one, how have customers used digital marketing effectively? This is a bakery chain which was founded in 2004 in Chandigarh. It has expanded to more than 7 cities, used digital platforms, social media platforms for marketing, presenting their services, goods, and also the delicacies that they've had, and expanded the business. And lastly, a very small manufacturing setup. For confidentiality reasons, I've not specified that, but it's an auto manufacturing component business, which has actually adopted cloud for managing the inventory that they were tracking across locations. And this has helped them to not only reach the remote parts of India, but also to reach out to a wider customer segment. So there are good learnings that we have seen, and there are plenty of good success stories. As we go through this webinar, I like to share more on how this has been effectively adopted even during the COVID era and post-COVID era, how those learnings can be expanded. Thanks, Ajay.
No, thank you, Puru. I think you touched upon key 4 stories, especially around digitization, whether it is related to kitchen or jeweler or bakery chain or a manufacturing unit. I think very diversified examples which you have given. And the point which you were saying that, the SMEs are feeling that the impact, whether the digitization is going to give the impact of, on the ROI or not. I think it's time for anyone and everyone to start using it, because whether it's a small organization or large organizations, the impact is clearly visible if you move in the right direction and take the right choices. So let's hear from Keena. So Keena, thank you so much for joining, especially from Singapore. I'm sure that you must be having a lot of exposure across the globe as well as in India. So question to you, Kina, is that universal challenges of SMBs, you must be coming across when it comes to adopting technology. So what's your recommendation? How can SMBs overcome these challenges?
Thank you, Ajay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon in India, and it's good evening here in Singapore. I wanted to take a step and just acknowledge that this COVID situation has impacted globally every individual, every businesses, but SMBs are one of the most impacted businesses, not just in India, but globally. SMBs, this has made us realize that SMBs used to work traditionally both with their customers as well as employees in a close proximity with each other. They were not designed to work in a physically distant environment. And this has taken all of us by surprise. Some of the things that I want to share some of the things we are doing as the Google team to help our SMB businesses across the globe in coping with these challenges. We did some survey, and about 50% of the SMB businesses have come back and said that they believe that their businesses will do better if the way they provide services is changed. Almost 65% of the businesses have said that supply chain is effective for them, and about 30 to 40% of businesses are saying they have unused inventory. The silver lining in this entire COVID situation is this is a great opportunity for us to take a step back and really think of what are we looking to do ahead in the business, as every business owner would do, right? And as they say, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but really fighting and building the new. Where we're seeing some of the things and trends coming out globally, as well as in SMBs in India. SMBs are generally very resilient, they're very quick to learn and extremely agile. I want to take an example here. In Singapore, there's a huge culture of eating outside as a family. The food courts are called the hawker centers here. Now, these hawker centers are like the local food. They have absolutely no technology or no means to go digital. But in midst of COVID, there were two or three things some of the businesses did to come together as an entire nation to provide food services and continue their business during a global lockdown, right? There was someone who decided to put together a Google Docs and with all the hawker contact details, their menus, their pricing, and how they will be making their services available. Some of the hawkers went and tied up with their aggregators, the local food delivery services. Other hawker center food delivery service went and tied up with the local taxi companies to provide the others said that we would just take orders through a WhatsApp or a text and keep your orders ready with the bill, and you can make a contactless payment and come and collect your delivery at the time you've agreed to pick up the order, so you get hot serving piping food. Now this is being done on the basis of technology, and on the back of this, within a month, there was a new hawker food app that came in, and they started helping the hawker centers and food centers deliver food through the entire country without really cutting off their margins or their profitability in the process of doing so. In pre-COVID days, if you look at any SMB across any segment, the way they would look for a customer was in a very non-physical environment. They would do events, they would do lunch and learns, call customers, talk about their services, or go through a chain of people they know. COVID has made all of our businesses realize that there needs to be a digital environment for you to be searchable, right? It could be something as simple as just a website or a professional email address that makes your business available on a searchable platform. If nearby grocery store or a nearby ironing service, these are things that people would not normally look for because they were already familiar with their neighboring SMB services and they would just go to them. But now this digital presence has almost become it's almost impossible to not have these presence available for these markets and these services to be available for the customers. What I would say is, as SMBs are thinking of how to make their businesses available, think of what are some of the digital technologies, tools available. Some of these are just simple fundamental things that are available through already prescribed mobile apps that you have. Some of them are more digital services that you could look at, maybe building your website or creating a platform on the internet through your businesses so that people can work with you. I want to talk in the next segment about how some of the other businesses are utilizing digital services in this COVID situation to help themselves stay afloat and just kind of rethink the entire strategy and the entire way they're doing businesses.
Thank you so much, Keena. It's a awesome example of the home delivery by hawkers using technology. I think I'm personally getting excited after hearing a lot of these new use cases which we never thought of. Let me quickly go to Srini from a Paytm. So Srini, actually, obviously, in your industry, I was giving one example, from our side also, a lot of digitization on the payment, and obviously your key agenda is to drive that part as an organization. So how is Paytm enabling SMBs with digital adoption, Srini?
Thank you, Ajay, for inviting me. I think what we've seen is, I think definitely like Tina and Guru also covered some of, touched upon few points, and Ajay, especially your slide. So I think one of the slide that's here actually is not talking about the services, but what we've seen is we cover a different gamut of merchants as Paytm. So let me give you specific examples of what actually during the COVID time that we've kind of seen. So close to 45 to 50% of our merchants are unorganized, semi-organized merchants who are typically your chemist shops, bakeries, grocery stores. They started saying my demand has collapsed. Customers don't come to my shop, and there should be a way, I should be able to, talk to them. At least tell them that, hey, these are available, or I should be able to remotely maybe accept payments. And hence I put payments. So there are some challenges that some of the merchants were undergoing even in accepting payments. So QR was there in the shop, but I couldn't travel to the shop at all. I can't go to the shop. So, but I'm actually calling the grocery store and saying, "Bhaiya, mujhe ye 5-6 things, give me these 5-6 things and deliver it to my home." So we were able to kind of, come out with a way that can these guys start accepting remote-based payments either through a link or through the messenger itself, where they can, take an order and, kind of do that. And this, I think we've tested out over the last 20 days, and we've seen retailers adopting it pretty well. So I think the solution of payments, not just about QR, but remotely also wherever you are, wherever the customer is, somebody is able to kind of, convert that and, accept payments for their orders is something that we've kind of done that. Indeed, what we even went to an extent is said that why don't I convert this regular call into a digital menu? So let's say I call this Girija Trader Store a normal call. The moment I cut the call on my phone, I will actually get that particular menu or the items that the store sells. It's as simple as it. It's like a OBD call. Namaskar, please see, these are the items that you can order. So I think this kind of platform really, helped a lot of these smaller semi-organized merchants with the technology that we're able to build it. The second big opportunity, and I think Guru kind of touched upon and Tina also touched upon, is people also want an online presence now. So while people say there is e-commerce, I've seen Big Basket, Amazon, everybody suffered during COVID. The biggest of the best players also suffered, when I say from a supply chain perspective, not able to deliver products, all the other issues. But a lot of these retailers are saying, my need is not about just ordering, but maybe I need to have a presence where, let's say, I'm able to tell these are my timings. I'm able to say that I deliver to home, or maybe as simple as this is my phone number, this is what I sell. So I think we are able to create now, Ajay, more than 2 million on-the-fly stores for free in minutes for a lot of these retailers. So that's why we call it as My Store. So My Store is Mera Store. So now everybody will have a store, and this store today will be connected with payments and financial services for these merchants, because obviously as a larger ecosystem, tomorrow we might be able to solve their problems in cash flow as well. So this My Store is a big interconnect of that. It's not just an e-commerce store, but it does a lot of things. And I think today we've kind of created 2 million stores during COVID time. And this is any business. This is not just about a shop. If I'm a boutique, running a boutique of women sitting at home, I should be able to create this in minutes without any technology intervention at all. So I think this is something we've kind of touched upon a lot during this time. Marketing, maybe not relevant, but one of the opportunity that we saw was physical goods were actually not moving during this COVID time for a lot of people. So we kind of smartly said that we convert that physical good into a voucher. So imagine tomorrow a shirt or a trouser is now converted into a voucher. So there's no physical goods. You will be able to go, a merchant should be able to create a digital form of a SKU, which we call voucher. You might want to purchase it. It could be a restaurant, it could be a boutique, it could be anyone. But customers purchase that, they have a validity of 2 to 3 months. So it's like a cash flow coming to the merchant. But tomorrow, let's say after 1 month or 15 days, whenever things open up or start opening up, customers start going there for these merchants and start doing it. And the beauty is there's no physical, everything is contactless. All these vouchers are created on the fly on the Paytm app. And obviously, because we have more than 300 million distribution of Paytm app, this voucher goes and sits in your passbook. So what happens is, even if I go tomorrow to a smaller retailer, open my scanner and scan, that voucher will be auto applied directly to buy anything that I wanted. So it's like a cash flow that we are creating for a merchant in a smarter way by creating a digital form of a SKU. So that's again an initiative that we've kind of done for some of the segments of the industries. The other thing I think what again Puru touched upon is, and also said about the cloud aspect of this, is we also came with a lot of requirements where people started saying that, hey, I already have an app, or maybe I have a website, but I need a lot of traffic and distribution. And we realized, hey, that's a great opportunity. So why don't we kind of create a mini app platform? So during the COVID last 30 to 60 days, we now created a mini app store on Paytm. That means anybody, any player, how big it would be, any business, if they have a website or an app, it converts it into a mini app and starts giving discovery to the 300 million people on Paytm. So it's as simple as it. No store, no website, it converts into an app itself and kind of does that. Now this could be for an offline business, or this could be for an online business, or any form of business who has some form of website or an app that we've kind of done. Again, the idea that we realized and we are giving to them is the distribution power and the consumer demand that they want during the COVID time, during this opportunities time to do that. Obviously, this comes with the infrastructure of payments. Ajay, like you rightly said, because we are pretty strong on payments and financial services, all those also would be provided to these merchants as well. On the financial service part, I think you touched upon, Ajay, that there is a requirement of cash flow. I won't call it capital crunch, but if you're able to smartly look at whatever transactions these merchants are doing based upon some kind of data, if you're able to give micro loans, I call it like a very, very small micro loan on the fly, for the merchants and for the consumers, that's a huge benefit. And hence we created a new product during this COVID time called Paytm Postpaid. That means as a merchant, you should be able to get a limit up to 1 lakh directly on your phone. It's like a credit card, but not like a credit card. It's a credit on your phone. We should be able to use your business to kind of do that. So I think different spectrums of merchants going through different challenges, starting from payments as a challenge. A lot of these unorganized merchants face that. Invoices, not able to visit in person, so remote payments as an opportunity that we've kind of done that. I'll touch upon few use cases, Ajay, when we move to the next session of practical examples.
Sure. So great, Srini. I think I personally excited to hear that 2 million My Store, which is obviously a pretty big number. And I think we all are experiencing that any kind of customer is going digital, whether they're going online, whether they're using cloud platform, or they're using any other digital tool, so that they should be able to engage their customers in a more touchless environment. So Anushri, over to you. Actually, I think you did the polling for the first questions.
Yes, I just showed the results as well. I just have one more poll before we move on to the next session. So I'm just going to open that up, and I request all of you to just take a few seconds to answer this poll, please. Ajay, I think we can move on to the second session while we have some time that our attendees can answer the poll for.
Okay, so basically, in the first section we heard, everyone talking about the key trends which got emerged in the last 80 days during the lockdown period. and few stories also that how different verticals, whether it's a manufacturing or a retailer or a bakery shop or hawkers, especially in Singapore, that how they are started adopting technology and helping them to grow in their business. Second section, we're going to talk about how technology adoption can improve efficiency. And if I had to start, I'll start by talking about few success stories, which we have created in the Vodafone Idea side with these small businesses. And I would say that most of these stories are pretty inspiring. I may not be able to talk about the specific names of those customers because you've not taken approvals from them. But I can still talk about the verticals they belong to and how we really help them. If you see the slide, we really help these small businesses to go digital. Everyone talked about how different businesses are going digital. So in our case, there are professional services or retailers. They're going online. They're creating their websites. They're using our data analytics to reach out to their potential customers through mobile marketing. For example, there is a salon or there is a school. They are able to reach out to their potential customers or parents, using a telco's analytics, because we as a telco have the complete demography or a lot of attributes. For example, which mobile phone the customer use, what's the demography, and a lot of other attributes which are there. So basis which the customers are able to reach out to their potential customers using mobile marketing. Real estate example I've already given, that one of the real estate the company in Mumbai, they have started giving virtual experience of their flats, which they were earlier doing it physically. We also did a lot of customer connect program. So there are a lot of these small, I would say the businesses who are supporting banks, who are supporting insurance companies, as well as there are a lot of NGOs. So how they are engaging with their customers, because there is a surge in the demand of COVID calling, which each and every state government is doing. Banks are making a lot of calls. The millions of calls are happening by banks, insurance companies to their customers, where they are creating awareness about the Government of India benefits. And obviously in those calls, they're also talking about their products and services. So using our SIP technology, I'll not get into detail, but I'll talk about that. Using our SIP technology, we have started creating a lot of customer connect program. Employee productivity is one key area, which we have seen, especially in the IT and ITS, as well as in the business services area, that how employee productivity is clearly very important. And if I need to give an example, I implemented the same tool for my channel partners in Vodafone, where we have got the couple of thousand partners across the country. And initially during lockdown, they realized that they are not able to contact customers. So what should they do? So we used our own product, which is cloud telephony, which helps or which is helping these partners to engage with their customers by running campaigns. So basically, I can decide centrally that these are the campaigns which I want to run in Mumbai, and these are the campaigns which I want to run in Chennai and Coimbatore or in Delhi. So those campaigns can be run in a very organized manner using these tools, and it gives you a real-time dashboarding in terms of whatever the attributes, whatever activities which you want to see on a real-time basis. So which means that you are able to run campaigns in a very organized manner by sitting centrally in the corporate Mumbai office with the help of these channel partners. So indirectly, you are helping these partners to engage with customers, generate more requirements, and run their business. Because at the end of the day, most of these channel partners, they are also small businesses. They also have the same challenge of paying salaries to their employees. So using this tool, I can confidently tell you that more than 90% of our partners, they didn't ask any of their employee to go out. Meaning that they were able to generate businesses with the help of a couple of tools which we enabled for them, and they were able to generate certain amount of business which was, I would say, at least sufficient to take care of their employees' salary. So I think that's the one achievement which I feel that we are able to manage for our channel partners with the help of improving their productivity. Home as new office, which I've talked about, is again to improve the overall efficiency. Generally, in pre-COVID scenario, the home was home only, and people were able to do some part of the business. But in the last 60 days, we are observing that people are expecting that home should be a full-fledged office. It's not a broadband which I need in the home. I need an internet leased line in the home because I am doing anything and everything. I'm doing all my office work through my home. So I need a full-fledged internet leased line along with video conferencing tools as well as a complete security tools which helps me as well as my employees to take care of the data security. I think that's the change which we as a telco are experiencing with our customers, and obviously we are adding a lot of value in that direction for our customers. Learning remotely, especially in the education sector, which we all are experiencing, that all our kids, all kinds of classes are happening now on video call. For example, personally, I am doing my drum classes on video calls every week. My son, he's having his school classes, he's having any other class. My wife is having his multiple other classes. So everything is now happening, remotely with the help of video conferencing. So one of the tool, Google Meet is one key enabler which I have experienced both for us, for our captive consumption as VIL, as Vodafone Idea, as well as all our customers. They are now moving on Google Meet kind of products so that they should be able to engage with their customers. But not only schools or colleges, I would say that there are many agri companies. I'm experiencing that they are engaging with their farmers. Using these audio and video conferencing tools, which I've never seen. That the farmers are now on audio calls or on video calls. So that's the big change. On the learning remotely part which we have experienced, and obviously business continuity, especially in the healthcare segment. The people are using different tools to manage and monitor their day-to-day activities. Using different the tools in the digital era. So if you see each and every vertical, whether they are professional services, retailers, the builders, banks, insurance, NGOs, IT, ITS, education, farmers. You think about any vertical, they are using these tools and they are trying to go digital. I think that's what my experience is. With I thought let me just give you a brief of few success stories which we are experiencing. Let me now go to Puru. That using technology, how these companies are improving their efficiencies. So from a consultant lens, what are your recommendations to our audiences?
Thanks, Ajay. Ajay, this is a very, very important point that you actually mentioned. And although there are a lot of emerging digital trends that I have actually specified, but I would like to give 4 examples which will actually resonate with our audience and as well as with our panelists as well. 4 examples of again how companies have actually worked during COVID time to not only sustain their business but also innovate and grow. Okay, so there are 2 where I will not name the client but name the industry because I've not got a permission from them. But the third, I will actually name it because it's in public domain as well. The first one is a research agency that actually had a lot of work, research work, professional research work done out of offices. They were actually servicing the stock exchange with primary research data on NSE, on the primary capital market. A very, very intensive set of around 50 odd professionals working in a small office. When the lockdown happened, the information still had to be communicated to the stock exchanges, and they were actually an integral part of the whole ecosystem. So within couple of hours, there was a discussion that happened between them and our organization, and we actually suggested a cloudification solution which will help them directly connect, bring their database onto the cloud. It took us a marathon 12 hours to actually enable these 50 connections, but they did not have 50 laptops, so they had to actually hire those laptops, go distribute them, connect them on the cloud, and make them functional in less than 24 hours. Yes, there was active cloud understanding that was required, and also the opportunity. And that's where, when we connected with them, we could explain to them the problem, and we could convert that into something that they have taken online, and now they are sustaining everything online for the last 65 odd days. So very good, important success story. That was on service. The second one I want to talk about is innovation. This is an auto equipment manufacturer focusing on spare parts. And as you know, during COVID time, they actually did not have any business because there was no movement. So what did they do? They obviously, their strengths were on engineering and innovation. So the partners of this small and medium enterprise in Delhi actually converted this whole business and created three products. One was a sanitization tunnel. Second was a door monitor, which was automatic, and the third one was an auto dispensation machine, which was again an essential commodity, which they started marketing and started selling. The entire product development time took them around 15 to 20 days, but then they created that product within 30 days, and the second month of the lockdown started engaging with customers to actually start selling it. So that's on product development. The third example, which I want to actually quote, is a company called Wishing Chairs. It's a very niche furniture and boutique company that actually sells a lot of not only chairs but also home decoration products. And they were obviously shut down. But the example that I want to give here is that this company had their own database of customers. They didn't want to just stick around and wait for the lockdown to actually finish to engage with their customers. So as I mentioned, one of the biggest challenges is customer engagement. What they did from week 2 of the lockdown is started issuing newsletters. These were to their customers, their prime customers, their very, very confidant customers who were engaging with them to talk about various topics, what they can read, how they can engage themselves, what they can actually watch, what they can cook, what they can ponder over, what they can actually create, and how they can engage with their own family. It was not contextual to their products, but it helped them engage with their customers. And what is the result? They actually had a very, very important message, which I want to quote from one of their newsletters. It said, "Pandemic is undeniably collective, yet distinctly personal." What it meant is that every customer has their unique set of problems, but then you have to find your own solution to the problem, and how can each one of us collaborate to engage and make that happen. And what happened eventually was, once the lockdown started easing off, they started using mobile technology to and also video calling to engage with their customers, to move it around their store and to actually give them the experience that they would have actually felt like when they were actually going through their store through a touch. So without adopting too much of sophisticated technology, customer engagement was a very important tool that they actually use to keep connecting with their customers, not forgetting what the customer meant for them, and use simple technology to start communicating and selling. This is a very, very nice example of how customer engagement can still be done. And the last example that I want to give, you mentioned about work from home solutions. We are actually facing a plethora of calls on how the entire work from home situation is going to span out in the next few months and years to come, and how can this be a sustainable solution. As you know, the regulators have given a relaxation up to 31st of July, but there are actually technology solutions that Vodafone Idea actually offers, and similar connectivity providers actually offer, on how secure edge connections can actually be implemented for continued work from home solutions. And I think that is going to become a new norm. So these are 4 important examples. One, as I mentioned, was on cloudification. Second was on new product development and innovation. Third was on customer engagement. And fourth is collaborative engagement for work from home, which will actually become a new norm. And I urge all our participants on the call to actually deeply think into these concepts. And I would like to re-quote the quote that Wishing Chairs actually made, which is, "Pandemic is undeniably collective, yet distinctly personal." So each of you will have your own set of problems, but then as a collective ecosystem, we will be able to solve those problems.
I think, thank you. The point said that it's not only it's a matter of innovating and then growing. It's a pretty important for all of us. Since we have limited time, let me quickly go to now Kina again. So Kina, what's your recommendation? How adopting technology can improve efficiency?
Thank you, Ajay. I wanted to talk about two key things on back of all of my fellow panelists have spoken about. Here in Google, we believe that for any digital transformation of any business or from any background, a big part of the change is technology, but this technology can only be as helpful as your culture drives it. So as leaders of the business, the message is really simple. For your digital adoption to be successful, you want to make sure that you as leaders are changed for some cultural innovation within your organization. Ajay mentioned in the beginning that about 70% of the Indian businesses are doing work from home for the very first time. We've had internet and digital services for a long time. So if we can move forward, I would love to give you an example of a company that took the right technology and the right culture to build what we talk about is a transformation. You're hearing a lot of technology, so let me spend some more time on the culture piece. If you can move to the next slide. I'll give you an example of a company. So here in Google, if you want to build a right culture, the way we follow a framework is think customer first, right? And I'll give you an example of a furniture local gaming company in Singapore that I visited last year. I had to go to a really far off area in a manufacturing zone to go and look and experience those chairs because they did not have a global presence. In midst of a COVID, they really realized that everybody's looking for good chairs to work from home for long hours. So what's the customers looking for? Then think 10x. They were probably selling 50 chairs a month, even in a normal situation. They went and thought about what could a 500 chair per month business looks like because everybody needs this chair. What they did is they created a website. They created a simple digital video with close-ups of what their chair features look like, very beautiful gaming chairs. They created a contactless payment to really pay for these chairs. And they started creating flyers and reaching out to their friends in the corporate industry to just create corporate discount structure for people who wanted to buy that. And on the basis of that Think 10x as a business, they kind of had the freedom to experiment of what works. And I was so pleasantly surprised last week as Google announced that they gave us some funding for us to go and buy furniture and make ourselves comfortable as we work from home. And this is going to be the new normal. I had a US Google colleague tell me that the Singapore gaming company that I'm talking about, gaming chair company, that chair was actually shipped to US and they love it. And they said, if you're looking for a new chair, I would highly recommend you to buy that. It was amazing that they created a supply chain through aggregators to get this now shipping globally. And this kind of their businesses has grown like almost 10 folds. The current wait period is 90 days for us to get chairs here in Singapore, but the global teams are getting chairs before us here in Singapore. This whole culture of innovation comes with the fact that you want to give your teams unconstrained collaboration. They want to have the ability to think differently in this work from home environment and build a solution that they had never thought they would build even 4 months ago. Whether it's a furniture store whose gaming chair is now a super hit amongst everybody who wants to work from home and get a comfortable chair and get customized matching to their needs, whether it's leather or fabric or whatever. And it's their employees who had to build basic technology, just their website, a payment gateway to reach global audiences and use right marketing technology without really investing much in these marketing strategies to go and build what they were looking at as a right cultural environment for them to do. It's a great example of how the business is doing so well that the owner is probably like he's one of the busiest persons in people in Singapore as a small business owner today, and they're working with their Chinese counterpart to create a stronger, and a faster manufacturing mechanism so that they can cater to all of these customer needs. The other thing that I want to kind of talk about when you're moving forward on the right technology framework, and if we can move forward to the next slide, is, as I mentioned, no matter what business you are, think of picking up and building a new skill or solution. In this case, they just increase their digital presence, build what a great experience for a customer would feel like, who's sitting in their home and they need that product so badly. How would you really take this product out? And a lot of this framework on technology is easily available for you to really re-strategize and rebrand the way SMEs are doing business. We have cloud solutions, digital, a whole lot of Google solutions, both free as well as business solutions that you can use to build a new strategy, a new framework that could grow your businesses in this COVID times and times to come as you re-strategize the way these businesses are being built. Thank you, Ajay.
Great, actually for your insight as well as recommendation, and I'm sure these recommendations have been clearly understood by many of the people. I was responding to a few of the the attendees. They're asking a lot of these questions. I think people are getting into more detail, which means that the message is going in the right direction. Quickly coming back to Srinivas, to you, what's your recommendation which you want to share with the audience? How technology adoption can improve efficiency?
Ajay, maybe I'll want to skip this slide. I don't want to bore the audience with this slide, but maybe I just want to talk
Sure.
an example of how we kind of. I think what we need to look at when we, discussed the entire gamut of digitization, I would like to take an example of an industry, the hotel and the food industry. In my example, during the COVID time, they're actually going through a very tough time right now, the entire food industry. So I think maybe I want to specifically touch upon how did they adopt the digital journey, and what did we do to kind of help them out in that way. So I think, like a story, I want to give an example and maybe end the session, not taking much time. So I think one of the big challenge during the COVID time that everybody are facing is I can't go to a hotel, I can't touch a menu. So obviously that has to be completely digitized. Two is the customers themselves have to be digital in nature. So digitizing the customers, digitizing the menu, that's a journey. Then maybe in few restaurants you would have dine-in, but maybe there are few tables. So can we digitize the entire tables as well? So the table numbers, table is getting digitized. Payments is getting digitized. Billing is getting digitized. Order management is getting digitized. And finally, all of that. So if you look at the entire value chain of this, is what kind of, a lot of these customers came back and said, hey, you're giving me payments, but can you look at digitizing menu? So I think these guys have done a phenomenal job where I think close to 5 to 600 restaurants today and coffee shops in India, and Ajay, you will see this in the next 1 week, very, very soon, is they've completely digitized their entire value chain of the complete industry itself. So for example, starting from a menu, table, customer, billing, order, everything. And what we've done is we thought of, instead of giving multiple solutions to merchants, because everything has their own cost and technology cost to it, can I really put that into a QR? So what we've done is, because Paytm has revolutionized payments on a QR, can just one QR help you to completely digitize everything, starting from a menu, table, customer, billing, payment, everything. And I think we've successfully done that, and we are kind of launching it now for the food industry. Is you will have one single QR as a journey that these guys have taken, where it's when you open your phone and scan it, starting from the menu, paying it, your table booking, to the complete bill that comes in, Ajay, completely is digitized over the mobile phone. And I think this is welcomed by NRI and a lot of these restaurant things. And I think this is a classic example. I can say that as a body, as a group of a lot of these restaurant owners who took this journey of digitizing the entire value chain itself into thing. I think that's a great example I would want to say during the COVID time, that last 1 week or 2 weeks that has been taken, and you will start seeing that coming in the next 1 week in the market as well. What these guys will be doing.
Great, Shani. I think I agree with all of you that how these businesses are started adopting technology, and there are very innovative, I would say, the examples which I've come across today, across all the industries, whether it is coming from Puru's side or Kina's side or Shini, you talked about, as well as I have talked about many examples. So I'm sure that the purpose of today's webinar was, instead of giving a general gyan about what's happening and what should we do and all, we are trying to, or rather I would say that we are trying to put effort to make these discussions more relevant for the small businesses. Basis our learnings, because we large organizations, one is we have a lot of solutions, propositions available. We are innovating a lot of propositions basis the new change, in the consumer need. And we all are experiencing a lot of changes. So we thought it's a good platform for us. We should arrange together so that we should be able to share these changes, new trends which are happening, coming across, and especially in the last 80 plus days, how life has changed for many verticals, what we are doing, how we are helping these customers to innovate and grow in their own business capacity. So from our side, I think the session is done. So Anushri, we can keep the session now open for Q&A, even though around 8-10 questions I've already responded while listening to the panelist. But if there are any specific questions which people would like to ask, more than happy. There are a few questions, which we may not be able to answer, being, the employees of the large organizations. So we also have limitations. So my suggestion is, please ask questions which are relevant for your business.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. I think we can start with one question from Binayak. And he asks, give us some ideas on how an offline education company can improve customer reach and engagement.
Okay, so is he asking for idea, or he wants to give idea? Or
Asking how can he improve his customer reach and engagement because he's an offline education company.
So quickly, I can give one example, and then open to Kina, Puru, and Shri to example. So one of the example, in the education sector, obviously, there are tools available which Kina can talk about, especially that how to reach out and what education, schools and colleges are doing using a lot of Google products. But one of the point is that which I have experienced in the last couple of months. All these institutes, they are reaching out to their potential customers, because it's not only schools and colleges, it's many small institutes, coaching classes. Their one of their challenges to reach out. One is using technology to serve their existing customers. Second is how to reach out to the right audience, meaning that how to reach out if I am running a robotic class. How can I reach out to the potential parents, who has a capacity as well as who has a bent that their kids should move into the robotics. So using analytics, tools which are available with telcos, which can help you to reach out to these potential parents, because otherwise, you have to knock each and every door. Maybe not be the right way of doing it. It's not an efficient way, but definitely, you can reach out to the parents, and there are many attributes. I would say more than close to 20 attributes which are available with us, which help you to reach out to these potential parents who are looking for robotics. So I'm trying to be very specific by giving an example so that you can understand and relate that how technology has evolved over a period of time and how these new technologies can help you to reach out to the potential base. So quickly, Kina, if you want to share, or anybody else, you want to share, especially on the education space.
Sure. So Google's doing a lot of it. I'd love to follow up and send you a formal email on all the work Google is doing. But I'll talk about Meet adoption that we have made available free of charge. So Meet is Google's video conferencing solution, and we have made the enterprise feature available for everybody to use as a part of the education effort and as a part of helping businesses, customers, and even students reach out through online presence. This is right now, Meet adoption is growing by 60% day over day, where students are able to sit in the comfort of their home, use free Google Meets available onto their platform through any of the browser, and be able to join classes through their teachers, through Education Institute. Apart from that, there's a whole lot of content and learning streams available on YouTube, which is again free for students and remote workers who want to learn onto the Google platform for that. There's also Google hardware Chromebooks available for students on offline for them who are looking to adopt and want to get onto the platform to learn. So there's a lot of Google's doing a lot of work in the education sector, and I would suggest you look at the google.org website to kind of follow through in some of the activities you can do using some of the free tools and platform available from Google on the education side.
Anushree?
So we have one more question from Sujoy. He is into tank manufacturing, and he is again asking a question about how can he grow business with Google.
Tank.
He's into panel tank manufacturing.
I would love to learn if this business has online. Okay, water tank. Does this business have an online presence? So if I assume probably no, then I would suggest that we could start with, you can actually use Google My Business page, which is a completely free of charge page for you to list out your business. If you have a presence and if you have a domain, and if you're looking to reach suppliers, there is a Google Ads online search team that can help you through online searches available for potential customers who would be looking for solutions around that. We would also encourage you to maybe think slightly out of the box and think of how can you expand. So let's say if you're looking to export it globally, there are several platforms and online aggregators that you can search for in Google to get onto those platforms, reach suppliers, and work with partners globally to provide your water tanks in different countries. So various different ways you can do it. I'm not sure at what journey is your business in currently, and I'd love to learn more before I can give more ideas on that.
I just want to add on the tank part that, the point which is coming into my mind is that now many of our customers, using IoT technology are launching anything and everything as a service. So basically they're saying everything as a service. So tire as a service, meaning that they are saying that we will not sell tire, we will charge tire per kilometer. So if you have used 100 kilometers, you have to pay as per 100 kilometers. You don't have to buy it. Water as a service, so you don't have to buy a water purifier. You just buy the water consumption. Similarly, battery as a service. So I'm saying anything and everything as a service is coming using IoT technology. So tank as a service should move in that direction. My suggestion is don't look at it as a water tank as a only water tank. If you start using technology like IoT in the water tank, you will be able to solve a lot of problems, because I have seen that a lot of water wastage, happens because there is no sensor inside the tank when the tank is getting full, or rather, when the tank is, the 70% empty, there has to be a signal. So using IoT as a technology, I think my suggestion is you can innovate a better product, which would be a future fit. Again, one of the example quickly, I used in my last webinar, I invited one of the customer, who started doing a very common business of selling hand sanitizer which anybody was doing it. So thousands of people, they sold hand sanitizer. And this guy also sold 150 ton of hand sanitizer in the last 60, 70 days of the lockdown. But he did it things very differently. I'll not get into that detail. But now, since he has started selling hand sanitizer in a very different and innovative way, now he has started using IoT technology, and he started selling hand sanitizer refilling business, meaning that he started, providing tanks or jars to all the corporates, and the IoT sensors are connected in those jars. So as soon as the jar is 70% empty, it sends a message to the nearest distribution unit, and that nearest distribution unit, refill that tank. So, and it's a very innovative business, this guy has created using IoT as a technology. I'll not get into detail because of time, but I think water as a tank or tank as a service using IoT may be a good idea to innovate the new product.
Okay, I think we can take one last question. So Saurav asks that how can hardcore engineering services can transform through digitalization where human-machine interaction is also important?
Complicated question too. It's more for you.
No, I think there are two answers that I can give. I mean, two options. One is 3D printing is something that is well established as a solution that is actually evolving and transforming the entire engineering industry. The second, I would again, when it comes to engineering services, IoT has been considered as the best form of transforming engineering businesses to make it interactive. Done plenty of work on using it for not only energy conservation but also managing the entire process end to end, where the different touch points that humans have with the machine can be actually monitored and automated through simple robotics, which can be implemented. I'm sure that the use cases that Saurav is actually talking about could be complicated to think of initially, whereas it can be easily thought through very well through a combination of robotics and IoT.
Because I think we did, one of our team member, Ranjita, she has done a research work in the offline to online education sector. So the person who has asked a question, they can touch base with us separately. So where she can share a lot of insighting which she has collected in the last, 45, 60 days around this.
Okay. Thank you, panelists, for your insightful examples of various industries and giving us practical tips, recommendations, and best practices on how businesses can adopt digital ways of working. On behalf of Vodafone Idea Business Services, I thank all our attendees who have enriched our webinar through their interest and active participation. We will be coming up with more webinars in the future. Do stay tuned and connect with your account managers or look out for more information on our LinkedIn page. We are Vodafone Idea Business. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe. We had a wonderful webinar today.
Thank you.